Hi everyone, thanks for returning. I'd like to thank all my viewers for always watching my videos, and even though I may take a break for a week or two, now that my school is over, it gives me a more opportunity to provide more videos to you for the games that I've been playing, and to give you reviews on those games. And so today we're going to be taking a look at Wits Wagers Las Vegas. It comes in this tube here. It's made by NorthStar Games. Just like the Wits Wagers Party, this adds a completely different element to how to play the game. And so let's take this down to the table and take a look. Alright. Now, I'm going to try to do the best I can with this game because the mat is just so huge. So the first thing you're going to need to play this game is to pick up a copy of Wits Wagers Party. And so the reason that is because you're going to need the betting chips to identify. And if you notice, this one says 200 and 100. This is the Elvis board. And I'll explain a little bit more of those. And then you have these other boards that are easier to determine who they go to. And it comes with dry eraser markers in the Party Edition, so you need those. And you need the poker chips here, because they're each worth 100. Okay, and so in this game, these are worth 100 points each when you bet. And so then you get these poker chips with the game as well. 500 and 1,000. Okay, and then so in the Elvis, or in the Wits Wagers Party, the Elvis board came with a 1 on it, and it said pays double on the opposite side. Well, this one actually allows you to play with the Elvis token. And then you get these other boards as well. They're a little bit bigger. They're bigger this way, but narrower this way. And there's a reason for that. And so this was in the Party Edition, and this is different. This shows you that it pays single and pays double. Okay, that's what those are for. But so in this game, you'll just ignore those symbols there, the $100 and $200 point value on that. Okay, and so in this one, you're going to determine how many people are playing. You can play with all 7, or you can play with, I think, 5. You need 5 at least. And the reason that is because if you play with 5, you're going to cover up the last 2. Okay, so that gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, if you're playing with 6, you take this and cover this up and get rid of that. And that just means that you can't bet on those spaces. That's all that means. Okay, I've done this with a 4-player game. What I did was I covered up these and didn't let anybody bet there. Another thing about the Vegas Wits Wager is that if you can flip over the map, and voila, you have a different version of playing. So you can do a 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 to 1, or go 2, 3, 4, 5. So basically, it works the same way. You just you don't get the 10 to 1 bet, and you can still use these to divide up the players. Okay, and this 6 to 1 bet here is for betting smaller than the lowest bet here, or the lowest answer. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you still can play up to 7 people, and you'd still need 5 to at least play. And so for a 5-player game, you can bet here. However, you can still, I think you can still do 4 because you can just not bet on 2 to 1. But that's just my opinion. And so let's say we're going to play a 5-player game. So we're going to take Elvis, Cowboy again, little G-Dog over here. I'm not sure what his name is. Let's call him Kevin, right? He doesn't look like a Kevin, but we'll call him Kevin. And then let's say Vacation Daddy over here. And one more. Let's go with the Granny. So looks like she's playing some slots. Right, and then you're going to set up the game differently. Okay, and so for this game, I actually have my own poker chip set that I picked up just for this game because I was playing it with my family, and my brother, being a smart aleck, actually bet all his chips and he won. So I ran out of chips. And so I'm using my own poker chips I picked up for this game to be able to bet with this game. So the red are worth 100 points because that's what these red ones were worth. The white one is going to be worth 500, and the green one's worth 1,000, and then the black ones are worth 5,000. Okay, and so the way this is set up is you're going to take a red token, 1, you're going to go 2, you're going to go 3, and so then I'm going to take one of these white ones, a couple of them actually, because I said they're worth 500, so I got 100, 500, 1,000, and 5,000. Okay, and so I'm going to take 4 red ones here, and I'm going to take a 5, and then 6, and then 7 for 7 rounds. Okay, and I'll explain how those are when we get to those. And so then you're going to take 7 of these question cards, and it gives you a whole bunch of new ones, different variants in the Vegas edition. So we'll take out 7. It's going to play very similar to the Wits Wagers party. It's got a couple different things. And so we're going to give Granny her betting tokens, Kevin his betting tokens. We're going to give Vacation Daddy his, the Cowboy, and then Elvis. We're going to ignore the values on them again, like I said before. And so then the first question is, for how many years did the famous Hollywood sign actually read Hollywoodland? And so then everyone's going to take a guess. They're going to write their guess on their board. They're not going to show anybody. Before the answers are revealed, people are going to take a 10-to-1 bet. They don't have to, they can, on who they think is the closest. And let's say, get rid of some of these extra chips that we're not using. Okay, let's say Cowboy wants to bet on himself because he thinks he's pretty clever. And then the grandma wants to bet on the Cowboy because she's confident that he might win. Kevin's going to bet on himself. Vacation Daddy's going to bet on himself. And Elvis is going to take a guess on himself. Alright, then we're going to reveal. Put them from lowest to highest. And if you notice, they're exactly the same width as the little slots here that you're putting them into. And that's because they made them so that way they can fit just like that. Now everyone's going to take another bet. And so, let's say Elvis is not so confident in himself now, but he thinks maybe 17 sounds a little bit better, so he's going to bet on the Cowboy right there. Yeah, but let's say Granny's not too sure. She thinks it could be one of these two, so she's going to bet the black, because that pays the 1-to-1. And then let's say Vacation Daddy feels confident in Granny over here, so he'll bet on her. And then Cowboy over here thinks that maybe one of these two answers down here are better. And then Kevin's going to bet on himself. Alright, then we're going to reveal. Okay, it says, in 1976, the sign read Hollyweed, because of marijuana law reform. So it says 26 here. They always give you some weird, funny little answer right here that makes no sense, that has nothing to do with really the question. But the answer's right there. It says 26. So, Vacation Daddy is going to get 1,000 points. Okay, then these guys over here are not going to get anything. And then Grandma is going to get 100 because she bet on the black. Well, she played it safe, a little too safe. And then so all these other ones are going to lose. But then this little one here, the 100, chip's going to go to Vacation Daddy because he's the one that had the closest answer. So he's going to get those chips, and then he takes it back. All these go back. And erase all the answers. Repeat it all again. And then get to the next question. So it's a sports trivia one. So see, let's go with the bottom one this time. What was the first year that women were allowed to officially run the Boston Marathon? So then everyone's going to take their guess. And then all the answers are going to go face down. No one's going to reveal. Then people are going to get a chance again to bet on who they think has the closest answer for the 10 to 1 shot. And so, let's say Elvis bets on himself. Kevin bets on Cowboy. Vacation Daddy bets on himself. Cowboy's going to bet on himself. And Grandma is going to bet on herself. Then all the answers are going to get flipped. So we got 2001, 1956, 1938, 1921. Put those in order, lowest to highest. Alright. So then it goes to betting again. So let's say Vacation Daddy's feeling really brave about himself. He's going to take his $1,000 chip. He's going to take it. And he's going to bet on... Say he's going to bet on red. Because he thinks it's somewhere in between here. And let's say Grandma thinks she's pretty smart, and so she's going to bet on herself. And let's say Cowboy was going to bet on himself. And Elvis is going to bet on Grandma because he thinks that she's probably closer to being right. And then Kevin is going to also bet on Grandma. And so then we're going to reveal. This is 1972. It says Boston Marathon first ran in 1897. So we have two answers here, but this one went over, and so we're going to bet on the closest one that did not go over, because that's how Wits Wagers Party Edition played. And if we look at Wits Wagers Vegas, I'm sure it's going to say the same thing in the rules. Yep, it says the winning guess is the closest guess to the actual answer without going over. So, Vacation Daddy over here loses his $1,000 chip. However, I only consider it $1,000. I don't consider it $1,100 because I'm using this as the identifier. However, you can either play that he doesn't lose anything if he just bet his token there. But the way I play it is that if you bet and you have it, you lose it. That makes more sense to me. So that would have been worth 100, and he would have lost 100 because he had the extra 100. If he didn't, then I wouldn't consider it a win or a lose. I wouldn't consider it a lose. So he's going to lose his 1,000. Going to take his chip back. I'm going to take his chip back here, and then Grandma gets 1,000 because she won. She's going to get the 200 here for getting that right. And she's going to get another 200 because she bet 2 to 1 on herself. And then Elvis is going to get 200 because he bet 2 to 1. And then Kevin is going to also get a 2 to 1 because he bet on himself. And they're going to take out their winnings. And then that's how the game is played all the way through all 7 rounds. And so let's take it back up top and give our final thoughts. Alright, so now that we looked at all the components and stuff, one of the bad things about this game is that they give you those little tokens with the amounts on them, which is nice. But like in the Wits Wagers Party, they actually provide you with plastic poker chips to bet with. And that was kind of nice for that aspect. It would have been nice to get some more of those plastic poker chips. Another thing that I disliked about this game was that sometimes they don't give you enough of the poker chips, and that's why I provided my own. I went out and bought a whole poker set just for this game because I was playing this at Thanksgiving with my family, and my brother had bet so much that he actually won all the poker chips that I had, and so then it was hard to keep track. I had to start writing stuff down or wait for him to lose because I ran out of chips. And that was another reason why I picked up the poker chip set, because it allows me to be able to give out various poker chips of different colors for different amounts and be able to have enough in case someone does something like that. The things I like about this game, the play mat is huge. I just love the setup of it. and it gives you the double-sided, so you can play the Vegas style or the regular style. This was a Kickstarter version, and so I actually got so many more question cards, and they provided me with new boards to write on, player boards. One thing I wish they would have provided me with was new player tokens, the little tokens that each player gets to show where they're betting. Because the Elvis one in the Party Edition has the 100 and 200 on each side, or on each one of the coins, whereas the other ones just show a symbol to determine which player they went to. And so I wish they would have gave me new player tokens for those. They give you new player boards. They could have provided new dry erase markers too, just because, like, if you had the game for a while, the Party Edition for a while, the markers might be going dry, and so you can always go and buy more. Another thing I liked about the game is that it just provided a different element of how to play the game. I enjoyed being able to take the big bet and try to bet on who I think is going to get the right answer, and trying to win 10 to 1. That was a very lucky guess, in a sense. Like, if you win there, that's already $1,000 or 1,000 points, or however they want to play it. And then the other individual bets, depending on where the person's number is, the 5 to 1 to 2 to 1 or whatever, and you can bet on the red or the black. The other thing I like about this game is it gives you those little coverings, so you can play with like a 4 or 5 player game instead of having to play with all 7 players. That way, you can cover up some of the zones so people can't guess there and stuff. But this is definitely, it says for ages 6 and up, whereas the Wits Wagers Party was 8 and up. It says 5 to 21 players. And so that's another thing about this game, is like you need at least 5 for this game, it says. I've played it with 4 and just didn't bet in the middle. Whereas the Wits Wagers Party says you just need 4. And I think the 21 players, because you can play this in groups, like you can have a large party of teams. And it says play minutes of 30 minutes. I think I agree with that, because you actually get so many turns to bet with or to guess, and so I think it's very accurate. When I took this to Thanksgiving, we played this like 2 times, and my family just loved it, and I loved it too. I'm glad that they made this version. It made the game a lot more interesting, and it had truly a Vegas feel to it. So I would recommend, if you're going to pick up Wits and Wagers Party, go ahead and pick up the Vegas Wits and Wagers too, if you can get your hands on it. Definitely worth it. Definitely the components and everything about it is definitely worth it. And again, like the therapeutic properties of this game, is it promotes family engagement. People are going to have a great time. If someone's losing, again, emotion regulation, you're coaching people to calm down, or kids to calm down, take a breath. It's going to be okay. You may not win this time. Maybe you'll get it right next time. But just because you fail doesn't mean that you're a failure or you're a loser. Okay, and that just helps the kid to process that, and it provides the parents an opportunity to build encouragement in their children. And so again, I'd recommend picking this game up. I give this one 5 stars, even though there was a couple of flaws. But by buying my own poker chips, I had a much better enjoyment with this Wits and Wagers Vegas versus the Wits and Wagers Party. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.